have a chance to try to extend our season record to 12 games. And that's important for us, and that's the only thing that's really pretty much on my mind. And I think that speaks to the masses when I say that. The defense is playing great. The special teams getting great field position. The offense is winning. The point of attack, we found ways to win.
You can't get to there until you take care of what's next.
I want to be number one.
Do you think you are the best?
Right now, at the time in life and where I'm playing at, yes.
Oh, yeah. We the best. It's the C3 podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. with my best buds, I chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions. My name is Tony Dunn. I'm here tonight with Mel Mayock. How are you, my friend?
Tony, it's good, man. It's Tuesday night. It's that time of year, man. Training camp is in full swing. Got lots to talk about.
Joe Riolano, a.k.a. that freaking Puerto Rican in the house. How are you, my friend?
Tony, I'm doing well down here in the low country. I am glad it's Tuesday night, and I get to sit here with my best friends and talk some Carolina Panthers.
Fantastic, guys. Tonight we have, well, actually, it's a fun show, obviously, because we have seen players in football pads on football fields doing football-like things. And that is always nice when you actually have some real substance to talk about other than speculation and the lists we make or whatever. So that's fun. Tonight's show, guys, is Camp Opens, Injuries Kalil, and Fields of Change. Episode 18.26. That's right. It's the 26th episode in the 5th or 6th season of this podcast. We do it every week, and we do it because we've got so many friends on the internet that love talking Panthers with us, and they're in the chat room right now. Welcome, Daryl, J-Dub, Lee Trotter, Aaron. We're glad to have you guys in the show. What we want you to do right now while you're hanging out, it doesn't take much, doesn't cost you a thing. Smash that thumbs up button right now. I mean, just turn your phone from long ways to vertical, hit the thumbs up, and then go back to full screen. That doesn't take anything. Right. You could also do us a huge solid by sharing the show with a single friend. Send the link after you're done watching, or right now, if you can multitask, to one single friend on Twitter, on Facebook. It will help us grow Panther Nation together, and we'd like them to know about the #1 Panthers podcast. And the last thing, guys, you guys drive this show. We've got your calls tonight. We'll be featuring them front and center. The Cat Calls line, where you can leave a message anytime, any day, anything you want to talk about related to the Carolina Panthers. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Plug it in your contacts when you're driving down the road. Give us a call. Just make sure you be safe when you do it. All right, guys, let's start with this. Just a couple of brief comments on the news that has come about and what the most of this show will be about. Training camp opens. You see the guys moving in. You see the guys doing football things. Mel, was it exciting for you? I know you got to go down there. I know it was hot. Was it hot as hot can be?
It was hot. There's no doubt about it. I found a nice little spot over by Reggie Holmes, our boy, our friend of the show.
I saw that.
Yeah, hanging out. We found a nice little shady spot along the fence line back where the quarterbacks were doing all their drills. It was perfect. It was great.
It's a fun time. It's fun to see the kids out there having a good time. Joey, were you excited to see on your Twitter feed Panther news flying around?
Oh, yeah, man. I was so glad seeing who's making plays, who's looking good, who looks like a rookie. Seeing how fast guys move. It was really exciting, and it was a flood of information. I mean,
did you guys see that?
Tweet after tweet.
Did y'all see that play where DJ Moore and Dante Jackson were going for that ball in the end zone? Reggie and I were right there on that pylon at that.
Oh, nice.
That was an awesome spot.
You know, I think it might have been Reggie or someone else. I saw on a Facebook group that that video, because you saw the one that the reporters were putting out, but I saw one in a Facebook group from a fan that was like the head-on view, like you're talking about, them coming to you, and it was so much. It was even better watching DJ Moore put that move on. Like, it looked even better from that angle. You're like, oh, no wonder my man got shook. And then you got to see it was nice. You got to see two rookies head to head. Very exciting, very fast players. And then also the scary thing for training camp occurs, and you've got two major injuries that happened this week. Daryl Williams, I think on Sunday it was.
That was on Saturday when I was down there, but I never saw it. You know, we heard the news when we got back.
Wow.
Really?
That's so crazy. It's like they've got 2 hours to practice. And it's like you got Ross Cockrell over there who hurt his leg snap. They huddle around him, say a prayer, and then cart him off, and it's right back to practice. Like, you didn't even notice Daryl Williams tore or sprained his MCL, or maybe tore it and dislocated a tendon.
His kneecap.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay. Is that that's the fancy name for your kneecap. So we'll be talking about that, those injuries as we get into the show. But let's go ahead and start the night off with the cat calls, and let's see where they take us. If I can press play.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in the snow? Who's that kid that can use what?
Hey, what's going on, guys? She plays the Black Cat, Brandon Herbert, and I'm just going to make it quick tonight. I was just thinking about a couple of things. With TD suspension, how do y'all feel about Shaq Thompson? Because to me, he hasn't proved enough yet. I'm not ruling him out being the best. And I know it may sound blasphemous and everything, but he hasn't really done anything. And I get maybe he hasn't had the opportunity, but they have tried putting three linebackers on the field, and he hasn't been that much of a playmaker. He's not been a complete bust, but at the same time, for a number one pick, or first round pick, I think he should be a lot better. Like, same goes with Vernon Butler. He just got in a little trouble or whatever. He might actually be cut this year. So keep an eye on that for, training camp purposes and everything like that. So, yeah, like, what do y'all really think of Shaq Thompson? And yeah, so thanks a lot. Doing a great job, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right, so this was a continued conversation from last week. You've got.
I think that's a great question. That's a great question.
All right, so I'll let you like the question. You tell us your answer about because right now Shaq's coming out and saying it's the year of the 54.
Yeah, well, I have felt very similar to Brandon. And by the way, thank you for calling, man. You call strong every week. We really appreciate it. But I've got a lot of those same fears, and Shaq is not proven. However, this is his time to prove it. And in every bad situation, it's an opportunity in the NFL. When somebody gets hurt, somebody gets suspended, somebody else gets an opportunity. And to Shaq's defense, he has not had the opportunity of being the guy, the starter, the guy who goes in there and plays that position. He's been the guy coming in relief when the other guy gets tired. So now he's going to be the man. So we'll see. I have the same fear, but I got to tell you, man, being down there on the field, he looks solid. I mean, he's a big dude and he's fast. He doesn't look that big on TV, but man, you're down there. He is cut, he is built, and he can move. So I have some optimism around it, but we'll see. He's got to prove it. Brendan's right. He's not proved it yet, but I'm optimistic.
Joe, I think some of this. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, no, he hasn't proven it yet. He's had a few opportunities, but he's not had, a long period of where he's in the game the whole game.
Exactly.
So that's something where we'll see how far along he's come. But looking at the two players, both of them were safeties in college and became linebackers in the NFL.
Right.
And I think they're both very good at it, but they have different skill sets. So, Shaq may end up being just as good as TD, but not necessarily with the same style of gameplay. You understand what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's kind of yet to be determined. And I get what people is sure. Has he proven it? No, because like you said, it's a lack of opportunity. He has played well. He's shown flashes. He stepped in there in a limited role where it's hard, where you're not getting.
It's a limited role, and that could be to his benefit or his detriment. Some people rise to the occasion, and some people shrink.
Right, and two, it's tough. I mean, you talk about running backs, rhythm. They gotta get a rhythm. So I would think it's hard for Shaq to not only transition positions in the NFL, but then only really get a feel for it mainly in practice. Now, I think part of the issue though with this has nothing to do with Shaq. Has little to do with TD in that I feel the 3 linebacker set has felt forced. This big Buffalo pack, it's an embarrassment of riches. That's been the problem, is that TD was supposed to get old.
Right.
TD was supposed to be gone by now. He was supposed to be gone 2 years ago.
Yeah, man, Julius Peppers.
Yeah. So I mean, like what this is, I think in those 4 games, you're going to get it's the debut. He has gone from a co-star, or a backup role in a TV show to now he's got his own show, and he's the headliner.
He was the understudy. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he can do it. I think we're actually going to be better with him. I think last year we started to see Thomas Davis his play on the downside.
I sure hope Kelly Davis isn't watching this show.
He didn't look like he looked 2 years ago. That's all I'm saying. It's not fair. It's not a criticism as much as like he didn't play bad. I'm not saying he played bad. I just thought in 2015 and 2016, you look at Thomas Davis and you go, dang, the guy might be playing his best football ever.
Yeah, you're right, Tony. I mean, let's be honest. And
why do you think he wanted the PEDs, Joe?
Why?
Yeah, it's like Father Time catches everybody.
Yeah, Father Time's undefeated. That's exactly right. And
Tom Brady says not so sure.
For a little edge.
Right.
Give him an edge.
So he can train harder, so he can get 1 more year out, 2 more years. I think that I just feel like it is Shaq's time. We're going to learn. I think the hard thing, and somebody mentioned this in the chat room, it might have been Lee Trotter that said, the hard part is going to be what happens when if Shaq balls out and plays really well, and then Thomas Davis comes back. How do you make it work? And then how does Thomas Davis respond in a rotational backup role to what Shaq has been doing?
You got to look at it. Well, what problem would you rather have, that one or Shaq Thompson sucks this year and Thomas Davis doesn't come back?
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it's true that is. I don't think we'll see that. I think Shaq has got what it takes. I think it's. I don't think we're anywhere in the bust zone. I think the problem is is you just get other first round talents that are starters from day one, and faster. By now, you would have known if Shaq is going to be the next great thing or if it's potential 2 years ago.
This is 4th year, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
and
remember, Shaq came in and played middle linebacker when Luke was hurt.
And he played well, I thought.
He played well, exactly. So this isn't, he's already been in the spotlight. So I don't think it's going to be too big for him.
I think he's going to rise to the challenge.
I have to agree with you, Tony. I think so.
I think he is. He's also going to be. I think he's going to put it to show that, hey, just because you got 3 linebackers that are great football players, that sometimes that, like, you might have. What if you had 2 great quarterbacks? You don't play them at the same time. You know, you don't. I mean, you can't, obviously, and I mean, I know that's hyperbole, but what I'm saying is I felt like last year with that whole Buffalo nickel, it was really a little forced, and you saw. What part of the problem was with Captain Munnerlyn is that he was the one that was squeezed out in that because of that. Like, he's supposed to be playing the nickel. He thought that's what I was going to be doing. And every time we get in the nickel, you guys call it a nickel, but it ain't no nickel. Right?
Yeah. Linebacker in there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Brandon Herbert had one more thought, and here it goes.
Yeah, it's me again. I got one more question, and it's just a statement, really, and you can give your opinion off of it. I think one of the most underrated storylines in the whole NFL and everything is the fact that we got Dontari Poe paired next to K'Wan Short. I think this is going to be great for our defense. This is going to open up a lot of holes, more opportunities for Luke, for the secondary, for everybody. If you have to double those 2 guys and you have the edge rushers rushing free, I think this is going to be a nasty defense. This is going to be like 2 years ago type defense. Because, you know, as you know, the middle pressure is the most devastating to an offense. So just let me know what you think about that, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right, so I'm glad. This is why we are doing the cat calls at the beginning of the show, because this is something that I was interested in talking about. I didn't have it written on my notes. Is I got to see Dontari Poe just on Twitter, like on video, you know, like not see him and meet him or anything. And that is one big man that moves fast. He is quick. Mel, you're on mute. I heard this. I heard J-Rod. You know who that is, Jordan Rodriguez. I heard her on the call in to WFNZ. She's doing daily spots for, I think, Mac this year from training camp. And she said, I don't know if you can call a 340-pound nose tackle twitchy. But it's true. That is exactly what you call him.
That guy is like a refrigerator in pads.
Yeah, he can move.
Oh, he is huge.
Yeah, he can move for his size, that's for sure.
And I tell you, is that I think what you're going to see this is a massive upgrade when it comes to from star. I think this is going to be a clear improvement.
What you're going to see is, instead of people single teaming Star and double teaming, say, Pep or Addison, they're going to have to double team Dontari, and that's going to leave some wide open rushes for Addison, and hopefully Addison will.
Yeah, you can't double team Short and Dontari Poe. There's only
do, but then you leave a tight end on the defensive end 1-on-1
from adding Poe.
You know, I mean, you could double team. You could take the tackle and the guards and go after your tackles, but then that leaves a tight end. Yeah, you leave a tight end 1-on-1 with Peppers. So.
And we saw what that looks like when you saw. I just was looking at a video of Greg Olsen trying to block. Who was it? Was it Thomas Davis?
That was Searcy.
Oh, Cersei, that's what it was. Now and you know, Olsen isn't known as a good blocker anyway.
No,
but
he is underrated as far as size, man. That guy is huge.
Oh yeah. So I think this is that I 100% believe in, and I think we were very vocal about this on the podcast and on the website, is how exciting that and that Dontari Poe signing was. What I think is funny is to hear a bunch of Atlanta Falcon fans on Twitter act like he don't got it. Like and I think this is the reason that maybe he wasn't as much of a disruptor as they had hoped, maybe in Atlanta, which he was. See, the thing is, but he just wasn't necessarily getting the quarterback every time, is you didn't have KK beside him there.
And his job, he is not going to necessarily vertically get up the field at the quarterback the same way KK does. I mean, he is a space eater. He's just going to he's going to clog the middle. He's going to demand double teams and free up everybody else. He's not going to have a 10-sack season. You know, he might have 3 sacks, but he is going to just command attention.
If
so
you got 5 from him, 8 from KK, that's a pretty dang.
Heck yeah.
4 and 8, that would be crazy. So
but I'm going to say you get at least 12. You're going to get at least 12 from Peppers and Addison because of this addition. That's my prediction.
Now moving to that, just quickly, are there any concerns at this point about Pepper's health with this shoulder and what happens if, not even just with him, but like what happens if him or we don't really have a lot behind them.
No,
I did see Deshaun Hall on video, so he lives. Yeah. He is a person.
He's not on the milk carton anymore. No, you don't have any real depth behind those two. And then, I mean, I am a Wes Horton fan. I think he's a good third.
No, I like that.
Yeah. But beyond that, you don't have a lot of proven there. Now, maybe Cox will come out and play. Maybe one of these rookies will step up. Maybe Deshaun Hall will do his thing, but those are a lot of maybes, and you don't want to rely.
What about this Marquise Haynes guy? We drafted him, correct?
Yep.
He was like the one draft pick I didn't even know we had.
I have heard good things about the young man.
Addison calls him like just a little me, like yeah, he's 6'4", 235 pounds, like Addison was when he came into the league.
Right.
I think is Addison has worked out. It took him a while though. This is the thing, is that, and I've always said this on the show.
I agree.
Defensive end is not something, unless you're just one of these special people, like a Julius Peppers, like Jadeveon Clowney, that it takes a couple of years to hit your stride because the offensive linemen are so savvy.
Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, Mike Rucker was incredibly average his first year.
Mm-hmm.
And then really took off and was outstanding. You're right. It takes time unless you're one of these very top guys like Chubb out of NC State this year. Something like that.
And just speaking, one thing, I went and looked up Pepper's stats this past week just out of somebody mentioned something to me. He was suspended 4 games his rookie year, right? Mm-hmm. He still had 12 sacks.
I know.
It's sick.
He was an absolute animal. Absolute animal.
All right, let's get back.
Predicting 12. I'm predicting 12 sacks for Peppers this year.
All right. Speaking of predicting sacks, does anybody want to venture a guess as to how many team sacks we have this year?
Ooh, 12. I'm putting us at the 48.
I'm saying 45 is the over or under.
Yeah,
I'm taking the over. That's good. That's dead on.
Anywhere from 45 up, I believe. I'd like to think closer to 60.
J-Dub said 62.
That's pretty impressive, brother.
I mean, if you hit the 50 mark, we're having a good year.
Yeah,
really good year. All right, let's get back to these calls.
Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? This is G Cavassier.
What's up, G?
Hey, you guys. I know you heard the news. Daryl Williams went down, man. That is like a bullet to the damn chest, man. I mean, I hope he gets better. I looked on Twitter, and they said it might be like a 6-week absent for him. I don't know if you've seen the actual interview with Taylor Moton. They said he has to, step up and everything. Let me tell you something about Taylor Moton. Him and Christian McCaffrey. You guys talk about Christian McCaffrey. Listen to his interview. It's like watching paint dry. Taylor Moton is about the same. My God. I was sitting there, it was like, he keeps repeating himself. And you could tell that he doesn't really want to say what he really wants to say because, the media can turn a little story into a big story. But he was just, they asked him what his favorite position is. He's like, whatever the team wants me to play, I'll play. You know, that's everybody's gonna say that. You know, so Taylor Moton, you need to be excited. You know, and hopefully you'll step up and give better interviews. You and Christian McCaffrey, y'all need to go to Bojangles somewhere and, you know, eat some biscuits and eat some chicken and drink some tea and be like, you know, hey, let's work on our interview skills a little bit better. Y'all take care now. Remember,
he wants to get a little Cajun. He wants a little Cajun in those interviews. All right. So let's talk about this. Is Daryl Williams goes down, and I think a 6-week injury, 6 to 8 week is like got to be one of the more optimistic timelines for him to come back.
Yeah, you remember the game the three of us went to together in Jacksonville back in 2015? That was his rookie year. He got hurt in that game, and he missed most of the year.
Yeah, that was a knee sprain. That was a sprained knee. I wonder if this is the same. I did hear that last year Trent Williams for I think, is that his name, for the Redskins?
Yes.
He had this same injury and he played through it and elected to have the surgery in the off season. And a lot of times I think they're finding out with these MCLs or PCL, these types of things, that maybe it's not an ACL where you have to repair it. Sometimes guys it heals. I am not optimistic though about Daryl Williams playing this year. And if he was, I think it would be out of complete desperation on everybody's part, his part, our part. And now Moton though looks the part though. I mean, this guy, and back to what G's saying this on the interview. I saw that same interview. I think Moton is he's super polished. Like when he speaks, he's so well spoken. I mean, like his pronunciation, his enunciation, everything's so clear, measured. The meter is perfect. Like that was very much like he said that I was talking about Christian McCaffrey. I do think this is that and we'll see. One, we never saw Daryl Williams talk. I couldn't even pick him out of a lineup.
No.
Almost. Since he
had his jersey on.
Yeah, the last time I heard his actual voice was when he called into WFNZ when he was drafted. The other thing, though, is that I'm sure Moton is trying to walk a fine line between excitement for the opportunity and that coming from somebody that was a teammate's, like something bad happened.
Yeah, you don't want to be the guy saying, yeah, all right,
I got my chance, baby.
Yeah.
But this is his chance.
Yeah.
This makes it, look, we said we wanted to see Moton. Now we're going to see him. I would be cautious, though, about wanting Daryl Williams to come back, because I would say this is, from what I remember last year, is Trent Williams may have played through it with the Redskins, but they couldn't run the ball to save their life. It's not like all of a sudden they had this killer line over there.
Honestly, me personally, and of course, I'm talking as a guy who's not the coach, seeing every snap, everything, but the logical thing to me is you take Amini Silatolu, put him at backup right tackle, and then you put Tyler Larson or somebody else. And I tell you that Brendan Mahan out of Clemson, he's stepping up. But you put somebody else at left guard, you take Amini out of there, and then
he wasn't Penn State. He was Clemson.
Yeah.
No, Clemson was Taylor Hearn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mahan was Penn State. Oh, well,
I think I'm not 100% sure though, but they called him. Somebody was trying to call him Big Baby.
Yeah, the Big Baby. I thought he was Clemson. Somebody in the chat room.
Taylor Hearn.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, because then you got Searles over there. I think
Right.
the Mahone, he did get a big shout out from Ron Rivera.
He's a player, man.
That the Mahone guy had a lot of tools and he was smart, and so it sounds like finally we got some positive news out of the offensive line, other than just injuries and problems. Now I do think Moton. I'm excited to hear this because I'm excited to see it. I'm not excited that we lost the depth. I just think this is that the Panthers, sometimes I've wondered if they really truly give the best player the job. And because they say they want competition, but I have never seen someone who wasn't the front runner be beat out on this team.
Cameron Artis Payne just texted in and said he agrees with you, Tony.
Exactly. Thank you. Call in, Cap. Call in. I think the only person that is really broken through that barrier might be my boy Damiere Byrd.
True. And let me tell you, when I was down there Saturday, the two that stood out amongst everybody else was Damiere Byrd and CMC McCaffrey. Both of those guys looked like they were just on a rope. I mean, they were just silky smooth. My mom described Damiere Byrd as silk with magnets on his hands.
He's good, dude. I've been telling and I've been telling you this, but it was Susan that turned me on to Damiere Byrd. Susan, you guys know Susan, the original,
the big Gamecock fan.
Original C3 fantasy football challenge winner, and always a strong player from year to year. She said this kid, when we got him as an undrafted free agent, she said this kid is good. And I started watching him, and I started cheering for him. I started liking it, and he makes plays. The question is, can he stay healthy?
Right.
J-Dub says Byrd is always a camp hero. Yes, he is, but he's also a hero on the field. You want to talk about a guy who makes the most of his opportunities.
The game that you came to with me, he had 2 touchdowns, right? I mean, he
had 200 yards. He had 100 yards. Oh, no, that wasn't the one we came to. That was, you're right. He had 2 touchdowns in that game. Remember, it was the butt cheek touchdown?
Yeah.
It was the butt cheek touchdown, and it was the Tony confrontational touchdown game.
Oh, yeah, that was.
That's where you got your hat. That's the game you got your free hat.
I got this free hat because these guys, these fools in front of us got mad because I hit them with my flapping wings. Just a little graze. But then there was another game. He had 200. He had a 200-yard receiving game and the kickoff return.
Yeah.
He was lighting it up, and then he got hurt.
Let me ask you guys, if we go down to keeping 5 receivers on the roster, who are the 2 guys fighting for that 5th spot?
All right. Number 1 is the number 1 receiver's got to be Funchess right now. Number 2 is DJ Moore. Number 3, Torrey Smith. Number 4, I don't like to say it, but I think it's unfair. Curtis Samuel.
Jarius Wright's got to be there.
Jarius Wright is 5, and
you got Byrd.
And Bird's on the bubble as always. I would just say, wouldn't it be sad if Curtis Samuel beats out Byrd just because he had a high draft pick?
Well, you know what? To me, you save a whole lot more cap space. You go with Byrd. You know,
Panther Nation podcast said nope. Curtis is on the bubble.
Yeah, and you know what, Tony? I'm kind of in agreement with them, man. I mean, he was coming on right when he got hurt, but he wasn't playing as well as Byrd was when he got hurt.
I think we're gonna have to keep 6, man. I think this is.
I don't know.
6.
Well, I think they need an extra player in the defensive backfield or on the offensive line, don't you?
Yeah, maybe though the running back position is a sacrifice. You know,
well, one of those wide receivers are going to have to be a punt returner too, right? Which
is Byrd, Samuel, or Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, that's gonna be the toughest thing to watch right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Which last year's weakness and this year's conversation. Last year we were trotting out just like street people.
Yeah, Panther Nation podcast said Samuel's a gentleman guy. So maybe that's another reason he might lose a spot. But he has not had a real chance. I will say that in his defense.
You can't give up on a second round pick.
No, I think you're right. I
just don't think it would be wise.
They got to be healthy. I mean, and one of those six very well may not make it out.
Best ability is availability.
That's right.
Any chance Torrey Smith could be the guy that gets cut?
No, I hope not.
$5 million?
They need him for the locker room presence.
And the speed. And it's not just, straight the speed you get out of bed, but it's football smart speed. It's knowing how to split the seams, where to go, angles, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. If Bird don't make this team, man, that's going to make this make
watching
Tony
training
an
camp.
Angry Bird.
Watching training camp, he's going to make it. He was one of the very best out there. Now, somebody like Jarius Wright may not, though I think Jarius Wright should because he knows how to get open. So,
right. Third down guy, real familiar with the system. I think
a guy that's also been on the crowd, just in a crowded room. He's also got speed too. He's not
pedestrian.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like that. Thank you, Panther Nation Podcast, for saying Bird will be fine. They owe it to him. Because that kid works hard, man. And he's worked through a lot of adversity. He's back before Curtis Samuel. Same type of injuries. He's back making plays. All right, let's go. We got a couple more calls to get through.
C3, your boy J-Dub. Is anybody else ready for camp to be over? Because I'm kind of ready for camp to be over.
Let's wrap it up before any more injuries happen.
You guys gone most likely for the year. They say Williams might be back by November. I personally don't see it. I mean, I'm not a doctor.
Not happening.
Dislocate your knee and tear your MCL, and you're like 315 pounds. I don't know.
Working against him.
I hope just for his sake that he stays out. Just get healthy, bud. And Russ Cockrell,
Yeah.
Ross Cockrell, sorry.
I agree.
You're going to miss getting to say vulgar things when you make a play. I was planning on certain things like, you just got cockrolled,
You just got the big cockerel
down earlier. One good friend of mine
sounds like a t-shirt.
During the 2015 season when Kelvin Benjamin went down, there was a lot of us and definitely a lot of national sports people that thought we were done. I'm excited about our team's depth and everything just because, you know what? I don't think we're done. I mean, are we better off? Not necessarily, probably not, but I really don't think we're done. I think we can still compete very highly, and we should contend for not only our division, but the NFC. I like all the players are trying to stay positive. It's really rough. I hope we don't get any further with this. Me personally, I'd rather have this stuff happen in training camp while you still have 90 people on the roster.
I agree.
Because after we make our cuts down, a lot of the people that we waive and don't sign, I don't think they're going to clear waivers to get to our practice squad. So I'd rather have it happen now while we have the extra people, the extra bodies, the extra roster spots. We can look at the backups, give them first team reps, and keep this thing going. There's not a whole bunch more I'd like to talk about. I like seeing DJ Moore. I definitely might have to step back on what I said to you, Cody, about him being slower than Stevie, because, wow, that man's got some burners. I just hope him doing all that isn't just because our DBs are not the greatest. But he's looked damn good. Ian Thomas looked good. I mean, the younger guys all look great. So I think it'd be nice to have a youth movement for once this year. I think traditionally we have, held rookies back way too much. You don't want to just throw them in the fire, but at the same time, these guys need to get experience in the NFL. We need to see what we got. The best thing about Williams is we get to see Moton now. We will know exactly what we have in Moton. With the Davis suspension, we will see exactly what we have in Thompson. Of Cockrell, I think.
Hey guys, just wanted to say it.
So he hit the limit. Great call, J-Dub. Thank you for bringing in. There's a lot of things actually that's going to take the show in some great directions. Welcome, Carl Van, to the chat room coming in saying moron will be serviceable. And then he goes, Moten, stupid autocorrect. Cole Van makes me laugh more than anybody, dude. That guy, he's a trip, dude. All right, so let's start with the Cockrell thing. Is that, boy, did we get, if it felt like taking, let's stop. Let's not go there. Cockrell goes down, and they said it was audible. I always wonder, too, like, how is it that I've been at these training camps, and how is it that every reporter heard it? They're like, oh, totally audible. Could hear it snap. And I mean, I'm not saying that it wasn't audible. Like, I would know. I'm pretty sure Torrey Smith heard it. But it's like they all just happened to be right there. Maybe. I actually that morning, the very first thing I tweeted that morning about the Carolina Panthers was, I haven't heard one thing about Ross Cockrell. I want to know what's going on with this guy. And then you know what? He breaks his damn leg.
Yeah, don't say that about anybody else, Tony.
How does this where does this leave us?
Well, you know what? Only time will tell. I mean, we could speculate, but like last year, imagine a team losing 5 Pro Bowl caliber players and then going on and winning the Super Bowl. That's the Philadelphia Eagles. So you just don't know if people will step up. I mean, with Cockrell going down, Dante Jackson's going to get way more of an opportunity. So it could be a blessing, but if he's not ready, it could be a curse. If we have more injuries, it could be a curse.
Oh, just backtracking real quick to the original call from Brandon Herbert when he was talking about Shaq. There was a great comment in the comment section from last week's show saying that this guy believed that both Shaq and James Bradbury play in the wrong positions, and that Shaq should be a strong safety, and that Bradbury could even be a safety. But I do think that there is something to be said. I think that Shaq could handle that. Now, going back to Cockrell, I don't think this ruins us, but at a place though is that yeah. And the one thing is that another position that we've seen is difficult to play with is at corner with rookies. I mean, remember Dave Gettleman likes a milkshake, just like rookies love a double move. And you saw what happened to Dante Jackson when DJ Moore was out there and put that beautiful move on. He bit. I like how you got to see the closing speed of Dante Jackson. It doesn't help us, but I don't think either of these injuries ruin us.
Right. My biggest fear is it just makes you that much more thin, right? I mean, this team is really talented. It can be very good, but they can't take much more injuries. They just can't.
I heard that too. I saw somewhere that Dante Jackson had a minor groin injury, groin injury probably from trying to catch up with DJ Moore on that play. I think this goes to, you want to talk about a T-shirt, Mel. I came up with, I think, the best saying this year for any rookie. O.M. Golden. Oh, my Golden. The OMG. Golden, he got in trouble. So that's my hashtag. O.M. Golden. He got in a little trouble in this latest training camp practice where he hit Jarris Wright. He hit him. He hit him with his shoulder, and Jarris Wright falls down. And then the whole internet and every report, dumb move, can't do that, stupid play. He got an earful, both ears full, from every coach. From Devin Funchess looked like a baby out there screaming at him, like screaming. That's stupid play. So I hear all this on Twitter. I go and look at the tape, and man. And he hit Jarris Wright. Maybe the forearm rode up a little high. But it wasn't even that hard of a hit, in my opinion.
I mean, and we are playing football after all, right?
You know what it reminded me of? And I wrote a story on this or a little post on the website. And I wish I could give you the real answer because I asked the man himself, Mike Minter, about this, but it will forever be unknown. But everybody but Mike Minter and myself in this conversation that did not record. Mike Minter in his rookie season knocked out Rocket Ismail. who was known of being he was made of glass. I like this. Is there was a great quote from Don Capers. I went back and read the newspapers, and Don Capers goes, "Some guys just don't recover as fast as other guys," or and it was because one hit from Mike Minter left Rocket Ishmael with knocked his helmet off and left him with a shoulder injury, a hip injury, and like three different injuries. He was out for 3 weeks. What I was trying to get to is one, if Galden sniffs Mike Minter's you-know-what strap, we will be happy. Like, if he's close to Mike Minter, we will be happy. The other thing, though, and what I asked Mike Minter in that interview, and it was like 5 years ago now, I asked him, how'd you guys make it out of camp alive? The next year, he got a concussion in camp. That same year, his second season, Kerry Collins got his jaw broken by Bill Romanowski in a preseason game. Right? These guys were beating each other up, right? And I didn't think it was bad. I think that I was more upset with Funchess being crying over it. Boy, he was so upset. What do you guys, though, going from Cockrell to now that you got Jackson, Galden, these guys, they're going to have more opportunity now.
Maybe Corn Elder. We'll see. I mean, it's an opportunity, but this next week is the first preseason game, man. We're going to start seeing these guys playing and see what they can do.
And Seymour has some experience.
He looked good out there. Good call, Joe.
Yeah, I saw somebody said on Twitter today. They messaged me, "Don't sleep on him." And so I'm excited there. And let's get this last call out of the way.
Love your show. Love everything you guys are doing. Some thoughts on DJ Moore. It looks like the real deal.
I agree.
Hopefully we can get the offensive line to block long enough for him so he can get the ball. As far as the secondary goes, hopefully we can get a couple more pieces to plug in there, and no more injuries, hopefully. But, yeah, overall, I think we're going to have a pretty good year.
Hey, CP3.
All right, so let's do this. Is DJ Moore. I do want to, one of the last storyline of the show, but we'll squeeze it in right now, is one of the storylines floating on the national media. And this is where you always hear it. Teams that are going to take a step back this year. If you want to hear that storyline, just tune in to First Take or Colin Cowherd every day of the week, and they will say that. But I just saw a story on ESPN from Bill Barnwell, who I actually have always, I've always enjoyed reading his stuff, and he was citing the Carolina Panthers as taking a step back. Now, 11-5 season from last year is easy. That is something that every team, an injury or two, can derail and put you down to 8 wins in a heartbeat, right? But one of the things that made me think of this is he cited some injuries. He cited losing Norwell. But I don't think – I want to know, do you guys think we're more or less talented than we were as a team last year? And my answer is more. And my reason starts with DJ Moore.
I was going to say that's a good – and you spell that more, M-O-O-R-E.
Yeah, exactly. Right? If you look at our receiving group from last year and this year, I would say that we have a clear better bunch. I mean, Benjamin was dead weight. To me, I think that having Funchess and DJ Moore and Torrey Smith is way better than having Funchess, Benjamin, and who else did we have out there? I guess Bird, Samuel.
Don't forget Burson.
Oh yeah. Now you go here, defensive line. I think, again, we talked earlier in the show, Dontari Poe is an upgrade. I think the defensive line is getting better, or at the very minimum, it's on par with last year's.
Yeah, I think that's an upgrade. I think the secondary is an upgrade. Now, the question is going to be offensive line, and everything on offense really starts with offensive line. So, time will tell. To me, this is a team that could do anywhere from 9 to 13 wins. It just really depends on how that offensive line plays.
Joey, last position group that I think we should highlight in this conversation of better or comparison to last year is the running back position. I think that having Christian McCaffrey in his second year, knowing a little bit more what you have in him, having CJ Anderson over a younger CJ Anderson over Jonathan Stewart, I think is an upgrade. And now you got maybe potentially Arma playing a larger role as a second player. Do you think that also is an upgrade?
I think as a whole, the running back group is better because they got younger. And actually, CJ Anderson has never really had a ton of carries any particular year. So his body isn't banged up. As someone who was in a run-heavy offense and carried the ball 30 times a game. So we have a fresher group and a younger group. So I think we're better.
I think we're better in the secondary, right? And that I think that losing, Kurt Coleman didn't have a great year last year. But I think if anything, the weak link in that secondary is arguably Mike Adams. That could, but I think that we're pretty. I would say if anything, it's a lateral slight bump up this year. So when I'm looking at the team, I'm thinking this is that we overperformed last year in many ways. Our talent, 11-5. I think we're more talented this year. And you're given, and we're also better from a coaching perspective as well. The addition of Norv Turner helps. I think that Steve Wilkes, losing him does not hurt us as much as we would. I don't think anybody was crying that Steve Wilkes left, other than that we really liked him as a person.
It's true. I mean,
I agree. I think we're no worse for wear there.
So my thing is I don't think the evidence is there. I think everything, the signs are trending that we are getting stronger, not worse. There are some questions, like you said, on offensive line. All right, last call for tonight.
Hey, you guys do a great job. Tip of the cap to you. This is Craig calling. I'm the Grand Poobah of the Nebraska for Carolina Panther fan club, calling you from out, west of Omaha, out in the cornfield. Hey, to get to my point, speaking of fields, gosh, since the dawn of civilization, as warfare goes, the side that secures the superior tactical advantage on the field ends up securing a superior advantage towards winning. I.e., if your opposition's dug in on the top of a ridge 80 yards up, you're going to have a heck of a time getting there. And same holds true there with football. Obviously, we understand the tactical advantages of football and the odds of scoring and not scoring. So that said, I was just calling with regard to Panther special teams. Obviously, they've had a few people nicked up here this last week. But, hey, they made some pretty significant strides last year in elevating that special teams performance. And by God, if getting these guys nicked up on offense and defense doesn't underscore the need to continue that elevation, I don't know what would. But hopefully, I think the key there is to continue to elevate and improve those special teams. And I guess if I could say one thing to Coach Rivera, it would be that, gosh, over the years, your special teams have been kind of like a bowl of vanilla ice cream. And, hey, we understand you got to have the basics down and you got to be foundational in your vanilla schemes. But, hey, it's time to add some chocolate syrup and maybe some cherry and even some peanuts. Maybe put that cherry on top with the explosiveness you have there with some of those young guys. So, hey, your thoughts there insofar as the special team significance and looking for them to really, hey, don't be satisfied with being top 10. Be the best at it, and I think their chances of getting to where they want to get improved dramatically. Thanks, fellas. Keep up the good work. Sure enjoy hearing from you out driving the tractor out here.
Man,
bye now.
Fantastic. Thanks a ton for calling into the show all the way from, he said, Nebraska, right? In the middle of a cornfield. The what a great story. What a great thought to have at this point. Something that we forget, right? When do you talk about special teams? When it stinks, right? Kind of like Mel always says, when do you talk about the offensive line? When it's not good. Now, I think he's right. I think we took a big step forward last year in special teams. I think that that punter has really worked out. What's his name? The guy that didn't he win out a job? The punter, the guy that I felt like he was this was 2 years ago. He won out the job. I cannot remember his name. The punter. I think that he's been effective for a young guy that we didn't know a lot about. I think last year we saw a big improvement in the punt return game as well as Pilardi. Yes, that's exactly right. I think he's been pretty darn good in that post Andy Lee moment. I think that we've seen what the Panthers have when they don't have good special teams, and we saw that in 2014. We saw that in 2016. Those 2 years, and that's a great point. I think this is right now we have a wealth of riches when it comes to returning punts and returning kicks. I think we have some explosiveness. And I think J-Dub mentioned too that you've got Chase Blackburn as the special teams coach, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a guy who lived working hard. I heard, through the NFL. I think he'll bring some grit and some experience to that. It's important.
I heard he came out for practice and was shouting and jumping and yelling and getting hyped just like all the players. Like instead of a coach being stoic and reserved, he got out there and got fired up like he was going to go on the kickoff team. I think that's cool, man.
I think, though, that in this I think every year, though, the importance of the return game and kickoffs is diminishing, right? Because they're trying to eliminate it in many ways from the game. But I tell you what, is that there is you pin guys in the 10, you win, right?
The punt still matters.
Yes. And I think we're getting better there. I think now the question is, do you risk? Also, not only are we getting better, but we brought you got Kenyon Barner, who are you going to keep him returning punts there and kickoffs? I think that luckily, I don't want to see McCaffrey and DJ Moore out there doing it.
No, God no.
But they're practicing it.
Yeah, I mean. No, man. I wouldn't.
We need it. Mel, did you get to see them? Who was fielding punts in practice? Did you notice?
Yeah,
that?
they were. Yeah. I was right down there with it. And it was McCaffrey, it was DJ Moore, and it was somebody else. I'm not sure if it was Torrey Smith, but they were mainly frontline starting guys.
Yeah, I think it was. If I remember reading that, it was Torrey Smith out there.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, though, one cool thing about this conversation on the punt return game is that I remember being in camp and seeing Ben Wickery being the punt return guy.
Yep.
I remember being at camp and seeing just like Brent Bursenbanger.
Mm-hmm.
While we might be
that was the worst.
Philly Brown. Another, is that I think this is that it's a cool conversation to have when you got a bunch of guys that you want to protect from that and you don't see it going down. I think the last question, though, for when it comes to special teams is, what do you guys think about Gano?
Gano, you didn't.
Yeah, he's got to be the weak. I think he's a weak link, man.
Well, who's that? Gano.
I think Graham Gano is a weak link.
Oh, he wasn't last year.
If he can be consistent, I'm fine with him.
Well, he only missed like one field goal all last year, right?
He also only kicked one from 50 and above.
Well, some of that was coaching too.
Right. Of course, you're going to be 100% if you're from 30 and in.
Yeah, I mean, the coaches did not put a lot of trust in him last year. And we saw that in the Philadelphia game where he came out after halftime and he was upset and kicked it in warm-ups right where they passed.
He was upset in that Saints game we were at.
Yeah.
Remember, we were driving back after the game, and it was something about, like, why? What did we do? Remember, you were furious about it, Mel.
Yeah, we
like,
punted instead of going for a field goal.
And it would have been a 45-yard kick or something like that, 47.
Yeah.
So, is that I think the hard part to answer your question is why we look at the kick returners as being these important, it's the flashy part of the special teams. I think on the other side, it's polarity and pinning guys back that wins these games. So I'll be interested to see how effective we are because we have never been particularly good about getting down there and actually getting guys. Like, we'll see guys, gunners over the last 5 years get down there and then they'll like run past the guy or not make a tackle or a special team play where you had great coverage, I felt like, and all of a sudden they still get a 12-yard return. We got to see that cleaned up. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in so far. There's been a lot of great chat, a lot of great calls, and we appreciate your support. You can continue that support by looking right down on your phone right now or wherever you're watching, smashing that thumbs up button, hitting the share to Facebook, to Twitter, to Periscope, to wherever you hang out, and tell a friend about the show and this podcast. All you people that are listening later in the tractors, on the cars, on the treadmill, we thank you as well. Consider leaving a rating, just even if it's the 5 stars in iTunes or a comment. We appreciate that. We love to hear from you, and you can call and continue to join in this show by calling the Cat Calls line at 252-228-5098, and we'll feature your perspective on this show each and every week because this is the show by fans for fans. Joe, I think the final news to talk about today and the last part of the show before we get to our Ice Up picks is that the Panthers Twitter comes out. Panthers Twitter, Bill Voth, talk about the midfield logo. They put a picture out. Now, this is something that had to be approved by the high ups. You did not take a picture. The guy running Panthers Twitter did not take a picture of David Tepper with the guy on the field or whoever manages the grounds or whatever at the middle of the field and go, I wonder what they're talking about, without running it by David Tepper. The immediate reaction is a lot of excitement from Carolina Panther fans about having the Panther logo at midfield. Why is this such an important thing and so meaningful to so many Panther fans, guys?
I think it's because the field never felt like it was truly ours. By having the AFL logo there instead of our logo, it was like a penance we were paying to the NFL for allowing this team to Carolina, to come to Carolina. It was a Jerry Jones thing. Jerry Richardson, sorry.
Well, it turns out they're really not as different as we used to think they were.
Right.
Exactly. So that's why I think people just didn't appreciate it, because it never truly felt like home. Because whenever we looked down on the field, we saw the NFL logo.
Mel, why do you think this is so important to Panther fans? Because this is, I'm talking like real out. I felt like Panthers officials have always said things like they get tired of us asking about the uniform. Sorry, my kids are walking in. They must be going to bed. Good night, kids. You're up late. The uniforms, they get tired of us always calling for these uniforms and making such a big deal. I felt like they would get tired of us, people like these weird fans who make such a big deal. Mel, why do you think it's so important, Panther fans, and to them?
Well, I think Joe hit the nail on the head. I think it's about people feeling like it's their own, right, and not something that was just given to them, but it becomes our own. But I'm kind of on the other end of the spectrum as most fans on that. I'm not. I mean, sure, it'll be fine and nice to have the Panther head in the middle of the field, but Hey, just win ball games. I don't care if you got David Tepper's face in the middle down there. Just win.
Oh,
Just
I
win
do think
some ball
it makes,
games.
yeah, it does make a better wall poster.
Well, it
You know
does,
what I'm
but
saying?
but you know what?
One thing.
Have you ever watched a Baltimore Ravens game? And they got that big, ugly logo in the middle of that field. I think it looks ugly sometimes.
Have you
when
ever
overdo
watched
it.
an ECU Pirates football game where they got the best logo? In fact,
Thankfully, I can say no, I have not.
In fact, it was so good. The ECU Pirates midfield logo was so good that the NC State Wolfpack actually stole it and copied it, and then got so much flack they had to take it down. Ha! Thieves! I think yeah, I'm kind of with you, Mel. Like, is this something that's not as important to me necessarily? I do think, look, we got a cool logo. So that it only make the field, more, I would say it look cool visually if it helps the home field advantage, whatever that may be. But I truly want the logo. There was one great tweet and someone said, here it is. And they put the midfield logo and it was Cam Newton with the sunglass picture. A big picture of Cam Newton. And so I've seen that people, J-Dub said brass balls at midfield calling it. These types of things. And I did lie. I said we were on the last topic. I did want to show this to you guys. I'm going to hit a little screen share here. I want to show you this. This is the one thing that we have not got to look forward to.
Oh my God.
One more time. This is Matt Kalil getting roasted by Addison. My favorite part about this is Jordan Rodriguez going, oh my God. And then I heard Salesman on Twitter. He's a great Panther fan, man. He's always active, got great tweets, good commentary, makes me laugh a lot. And he said, Matt Kalil, something to the effect of like out there trying teaching kids a great hook slide into second. All right. So this is the C3 podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We're going to close the show out with one of our favorite segments, the Ice Up Picks of the Week. And this is where this is our homage to Steve Smith. And we are telling someone in the league to ice up, to toughen up, to get it together. Mel Mayock, I know you mentioned you had one, so you started off.
And that was a perfect segue, what you showed right there, because I tell you, going into this season, I have said multiple times on this show, this can be a very good team, but the big concern I have is when you're switching to Norv Turner's offense and you're going on the deep vertical passing routes, you're risking your quarterback, the face of your franchise, to get pummeled like he did in 2016 when our offensive line was just atrocious. And because it's going to take him longer to get back, he's got to take deeper drops. He's got to wait for routes to develop. Yes, I'm talking about routes. Had to wait for them to develop, and the offensive line has to hold up. And if they don't do their job, it doesn't matter how many great wide receivers we have. So it really comes down to, can Matt Kalil hold up? And seeing that clip there does not give me a whole lot of warm and fuzzy. So I'm just going to come right out of the gate and say, Matt Kalil, the season's riding on your shoulders, man. And if not, then hopefully Norv Turner sees that. And of course he sees that. And hopefully he's got some scheme thoughts in mind and doesn't just say Matt's got to play better. Hopefully he's got a fullback back there protecting Cam's backside, because if he is the speed bump that the Saints call him to be, it's going to be a long season and we might win 8 games. So Matt Kalil, please don't ruin all this talent. Ice up.
Joe Riolano, what do you got for us tonight?
Well, Tony, the summer blockbuster season is in full swing. And to this point, at the movies, we've seen a new wave of prehistoric creatures terrorizing a New England mansion. We've seen a giant gorilla, giant wolf, and giant crocodile.
I just watched that this weekend.
All rampage through the Windy City. We've seen Thanos slaughter half of the Marvel superheroes. And in early August, we will see a megalodon wreak havoc on beaches and the open ocean. So the other day I was surfing the web, and noticed a top 10 80s movie list. So I thought how cool it would be to see which movies made the top 10, me being a child of the 80s. And I must say, there was an obvious choice that did not make the list. I was absolutely dumbstruck at how such a good website could completely drop the ball and leave off one of the best action movies of the 80s. ING is a website I often visit for game and movie reviews, and generally speaking, I agree with their assessments. But when it came to this top 10 list and who was on it, I have to question my relationship with this website. Well, let me give you the top 10 movies from 10 to 1. Lethal Weapon, Predator, First Blood, Police Story, never heard of it, but it has Jackie Chan. RoboCop, The Killer, never heard of it, but it's a Chow Yun-Fat movie. I don't know if you remember who he was.
Yeah.
Road Warrior, Aliens, Die Hard, and number 1, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay.
A solid list. Most of those movies I have to agree with. But can anyone guess the movie that I'm thinking of that's not on this list that was hugely popular, almost had a cult-like following?
It's not Jaws because that was the 70s.
Yeah. It is a fantasy movie. It had Sean Connery in it. In one part of the movie. He wasn't the star.
Is it not Land Before Time? What was that? Is it that weird one with the flying dog? With the kid?
No, I know what you're talking about, but no, that's not it.
What is it, Joe?
Highlander.
Oh, I love Highlander, dude.
Me too. How can that not be on a top 10 80s movie list? For real.
That's right. Sean Connery is in there. Yeah.
Yeah, for real. How can that not be on the list? So I'm like I said, I'm dumbstruck because it's not on this list. So because of that major oversight, I have to say to IGN, the website, I suck, son.
There's a great Tim Tizzy said the reason it didn't make it is because of the TV show. And I actually like the TV show, man. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a sucker. You know, it's important when you see a movie at what time in your life, what else has gone on in that period that really makes it, you know. And there are two great podcasts that I listen to that are related to movies. One is from the guys that do The League. You remember that show where the fantasy football show? Speaking of, I got the fantasy football prizes that we're getting. I'm getting it all put together this week. Christian McCaffrey signed autographed jersey going to be raffled off in the C3 Panthers fantasy football challenge, as well as today just arrived a 1996 team football signed by the Carolina Panthers that was given to Musim Muhammad or something like that on his I don't know how I got it on. I got it, so that's gonna be cool. Problem is, I think maybe it was 98. I think Ray Cruz's name is on it, which is not cool.
That's something to say, though. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's like a party, a topical thing. But the podcast I like is How Did This Get Made? And it's so funny, man. And these guys talk about, they take movies that kind of are old that we loved that are kind of trash in some ways, you know, and they break them up. And it is so funny. And one of the movies they did was the third Highlander, I think, The Quickening. Maybe it was the second. But I have a soft spot for the Highlander movies. I love every movie on that list that I've heard of. Going down, you're talking Die Hard, Road Warrior. Man, great. That was a great era, and I would say those hold up.
Yeah, I think they do too, except Police Story and The Killer.
You know,
One of
there's
those
one
should have
comedy.
been
What about a comedy? Why don't we put Police Academy in there?
not an action movie.
No. Are they only action movies? The list?
Yeah, it's only action movie.
Okay. All right, Cody Lashney in the house, coming in just for the last moment. He's been in enemy territory on Under the Dome podcast. He's here to ice some people up. What's up, Cody?
What's going on, guys? Yeah, I was on the Under the Dome podcast. I was talking about some Panthers football, and they were awesome, man. Sean and Alan, they were cool dudes. It was cool to represent C3 on a different show, but sorry I'm late.
Who you got to ice up this week?
Yeah, so I came with the doozy. I figured if I was gonna show up, I better show up with some heat, boys. So, all right, listen. There's a man by the name of Denver Riggleman, and he is running for, I believe, Senate in Iowa. I don't have all that information in front of me, but forgive me. But none of that matters. And, you know, it doesn't even really matter that he's a white supremacist. And you would go, wait a minute. That seems like it was something that would matter, right? Well, as it turns out, no. Because what really matters is that David Riggleman is a writer and an enthusiast for Bigfoot porn.
I just Googled it, guys. I just Googled it, and this is the headline I ran across, Cody. Think we've reached rock bottom in politics, ? 2 words, Bigfoot erotica.
Yeah, baby. Hey, that's the best kind of erotica I hear, you know? So, man, listen. I mean, there's not really much you can say about that, man. It's just that's the times that we live in right now, where the fact that a man is a white supremacist isn't the most disturbing thing about him, but he's into big, hairy Bigfoot penis, dude. And and you just, you know, in 2018, you can't make it up if you try, dude.
He's in Virginia, by the way. Listen to this, Cody. This is the first paragraph to that story. Long before the full frontal of that tall drink of Harry became social media famous. No. That's the first. Oh gosh, you can't make it up, dude.
No, especially in 2018, man. You can't make it up. So listen, dude, if I had to miss the whole show, I had to bring it with a good ice up pick. So to Denver Riggleman, ice up, son. Ice up.
What it goes to show you is in the depths of the internet, you can find some really weird shit, dude. Really weird.
J-Dub is mad at me for calling out his state. Sorry, J-Dub. I blame Denver, not you, man. Not the great denizens of the state of Virginia, dude. You're all right.
All right, so ice up to Bigfoot porn, and yeah, like you said, when that is less, when the white supremacist is the less weird story, not less weird. I don't even know how to phrase it. It's just like, holy cow, like this.
Well, that's not the main issue. Yeah,
it's overshadowed.
It matters. It matters the least in a story about a politician running for Senate. For God's sakes,
it's in the shadow. Oh, it's overshadowed by giant Bigfoot. You know what?
Giant Bigfoot penises, dude. Just say what
bestiality.
Is that considered bestiality?
Well, I don't know. Have you ever seen a Bigfoot in person? Because if you haven't, then I don't think it is, man. You might as well be writing about the Little Mermaid, dude. Like, whatever, man.
This is going bad. This is going bad quick.
We're going downhill fast.
Ice up.
I apologize.
Next ice up.
My ice up pick goes to the New Orleans Saints for signing Michael Floyd. The guy that had all the problems in Arizona, then continued problems in Minnesota, really, is that this is the place. Man, I just saw Brandon Browner. Is that his right name?
Mm-hmm.
Orange jumpsuit for attempted murder in L.A. He was a New Orleans Saint. Now, Michael Floyd is a New Orleans Saint. We know about the history of the dirty play in New Orleans, which is doesn't have a reputation for the cleanliest of cities, right? I'm just going to point out this is that these guys, they need to ice up the New Orleans Saints. I also want to ice up Joe Flacco. I heard that Joe Flacco is a terrible mentor and that he has not been willing to teach anybody and help anybody. I think it was Tyrod Taylor that said that. And also Johnny Manziel, quick note, is starting this Friday for the Montreal Alouettes. And were the Montreal Alouettes, was that where who's the greatest quarterback that gets left off every Warren Moon played?
Doug Flutie.
He played for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, but he played in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So did Doug Flutie and others.
One of those guys played for the Alouettes. Alouette.
Yeah, what's an Alouette?
It's I don't know. It's a piano song my kids play. So to you guys, the New Orleans Saints specifically, I tell you to ice up. All right. It's the C3 Podcast. My name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. We thank everybody for their great calls tonight. The number's 252-228-5098. We want to hear from you guys. We want to hear from expanded group of Panther fans. Continue to grow this because we're only going to have more to talk about. Mel Mayock, they want to see and talk football with you on the intranets. How do they do it before next Tuesday?
Anytime, hit me up at Panthers Drafter.
Well, before 10:22, because Mel is in bed before the lights get off. He runs a 4.340 from the C3 Podcast to bed. Just remember this: we used to do this podcast at 10, Mel.
Yep. Actually, that used to do it at 7.
For you, yeah, but we were staying up till like midnight, dude. Hey, Joe Riolano, how can they find you on Twitter or wherever you hang out?
You can find me on Twitter at Joe Riolano. Love to talk Panthers football, and cars are cool.
Cody Lashney coming in for a good ice up pick. Where can they continue this discussion on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Cody Lack, CODYLAC. And guys, check out the Under the Dome podcast that we filmed tonight. It was a really good show. The guys over there are great. We talked a lot of good Panthers stuff, so you're going to get what you want with some Panthers football. And I'm mulling around the thought of potentially live streaming some of the preseason football games from my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Codais, CODAIS. Not decided 100% yet if I'm going to do it, but I might experiment with it. If I do, keep on the lookout on my Twitter and come and watch me talk about the football team as you see it happening live, and probably with a lot more cuss words involved. So there's that. But I'll definitely keep everyone posted on Twitter. Follow me.
All right. This is C3 Podcast hosted by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. The fantasy football news will be coming out this week, and I've got some special news coming for you. I'll drop a little hint. It's coming in the future. We're not going to tell you what it's about, but it's called The Vault, and you will be impressed. All right.
I have one reminder. If you guys are into watching Pro Football Talk with Mike Florio and Phil Simms, they are covering the Panthers on Thursday. Just something to think about.
All right, guys. We'll check you out next Tuesday. Thanks, everybody.
Peace and love.
Good night now.